Yes, people, we are back live. We're on 12th Man and Lee Judges TV. Before we do a little bit of a crossover today, I've got myself and Lee Judges, and we've got two Liverpool fans because it is the big game this weekend. It is the Anfield Showdown. One of the first games. I didn't think it would be this close already. Arsenal definitely have picked six very difficult first fixtures, but we've got to play everybody twice. We go to Anfield against the champions, a very difficult game. And to speak to me and Lee, we've got Errol and Mons. Errol, start with you, bro. How are you? Good to see you again, mate. How are you, bro?
Good to see you, bro. Yeah, I pick up the boys, pick up the panel. Yeah, man, I'm all good to be honest with you. Still on a little bit of a high after Monday night, but obviously we've kind of got to dust ourselves down and go again. And look, at the end of the day, Arsenal coming to Anfield's not going to be an easy game. I'm sure you will probably agree with that. But in terms of this Liverpool side, man, cinema. It's just pure cinema over this way at the moment. Like everything we do just seems to be a bit of a blockbuster. So with a little bit of luck, hopefully we can do it again on the weekend. But I'm all good, mate.
Nah, listen, man, it's always a pleasure to see you, bro. Make sure you're following Errol. Make sure you're following him on his Twitter. Make sure you see him on Redmen TV. Make sure you're smashing the sub for him as well, man, because he does a lot of work and a lot of great content. As does Mons. Mons, Big Six Pants. How are you, Mons? You good, bro? Oh, Errol, can you just put yourself on mute, bro? Sorry, bro. Get an echo. Love. How you doing, Mons? You good, bro?
Yeah, man, all good. Similar to Errol, man, can't really complain. As I said, a crazy game. Rio literally living every 16-year-old boy's dream in what's just gone on in the game. And I living, like, again, with Newcastle and Liverpool, it's always a blinder. That's what in recent history anyways, and probably old school history as well, with with Kevin Keegan and whatnot. But I do feel like what a game. It was the Eastack derby, and we'll obviously see what happens to the rest of the window. But outside of that, man, I can't complain. We've got our points on the board, but still a lot to improve on. And my highlight is me screaming out for Szoboszlai to play right back, telling people last season he's a right back. That man is a right back. And see, man of the match in one of the hardest games. I'd say one of the hardest away grounds, one of the tougher away grounds to go in the league, and for him to get man of the match at right back after being called insane is crazy. But apart from that, everything's good. Working, streaming, doing what we can to support the boys. So yeah, man.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I agree with that. St. James's Park's one of the toughest, man. We've not had some nice times there of late. So we got them in a few weeks after you guys, man. Judges, how's things, bro? You all good?
Yeah, all good. Enjoyed that game Monday. I know it didn't go the way we wanted to, but there was some good things for us to pick up on. I'm pretty sure Mikel's picked up on a few of their weaknesses as well. So, but they got the job done, and I love the way that they're being praised for it. And when we go to Man United, the way we're criticised for it, but that's the way it is.
I've got a question for you, judges, though. So I'll let you load up, and then I've got a question for you.
Okay. Definitely a sending off. You can't argue that. Should VAR get involved? That's a different debate. But once they did, soon as they did, and you see the tackle, it was a definite sending off, and I don't think it was trying to be nasty. I looked at it a few times. I think it was trying to just ruffle a few feathers, but it just sort of went over the line. But listen, I thought it was a good game, and I think I don't think if you go to games, you don't really appreciate what hostile atmosphere these grounds can be, and that was certainly one of them. And you don't think you really get the full effect of it on TV, but they got the job done. The swines.
Yeah, it was a mad game. I can't lie. It was actually literally had everything, man. It sendings off. It had that kind of volatile, hostile atmosphere. Newcastle have, for some mad reason, trying to form some bizarre rivalry with Liverpool because of the whole Isak thing. I think they actually were hating on us when we were linked with him as well, by the way. Like Newcastle fans, I like Newcastle and I've got love for their fans and love for what they've been through and love for the passion, and I love the city and a great ground and a brilliant night out. But I don't know what's gone on in the last couple of months, but Newcastle and Liverpool have formed this kind of hatred on Newcastle's side just because of them appreciating their player. So I think they should be more mad at Isak, if I'm honest, but that's just me. Look, let's not worry about Newcastle. Let me come to you first, Errol. I'll let you give your question to Lee in a minute alongside this, but Liverpool right now, I have you favourites, but I haven't seen the same Liverpool that I had last season. I still feel there's a little bit of shakiness, particularly around your defence. Would you agree with that, bruv?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100% at this moment in time. I put it out there after the match on Monday. Last season, Canate didn't start as our centre-back. It was Jarell Kwanzaa. And obviously at half-time, he gets subbed and Kanate comes in. But obviously, Kanate is the senior of the two centre-backs, so he's probably sitting there thinking, right, well, if my place isn't guaranteed and this kid can come and take my place, I'm better than him. But he had to show it and prove it and consistently hold down his place. And Jarell Quansah was pretty much, I think, if memory serves, he didn't have many injuries last season. So he was always there, worst case scenario, if Ibu's form dipped. We haven't really had that buffer all summer in this transfer window. So Ibu hasn't naturally had that level of competition to say, yo, irrespective of how well I'm performing, there's always somebody else there putting in the shift, putting in the work, wanting my spot if I don't turn up. So at the moment, I'm not saying that he doesn't want to turn up, but his form at this moment in time is particularly poor. So if there was somebody in there, I know we just got this Leone kid through the door, but again, we're still looking for another centre half. I think there needs to be somebody close to his level, maybe better than his level, that wants to fight for that position, and maybe that brings out the best of him again. Because at the moment, he looks ropey. I'm not convinced with Kerkez as well, if I'll be honest with you. I think Kerkez is going to take a couple of months, it might take, for him to really settle in and probably convince a couple of the Liverpool fans that he can be the real successor to Robbo after what Robbo's done. But, you know, I also said this the other day, if Robbo can't currently get into the squad while Kerkez's form isn't that great, does that show that there's any real point in Robbo being there, or is he just going to be in the games that don't mean nothing, or when we're just trying to manage minutes? So it'll be interesting to see, but defensively we do look a little bit worrying at the moment. Obviously, Verge is doing his thing and had an amazing game on Tuesday, but how long can you keep relying on one person to kind of prop up the defence? It's a big ask, it's a tall order, so, and he's aging, so he's going to need a little bit of help. The only question that I had to judges really was off the back of our game and yours over the weekend. Obviously, I know AFTV will clip up certain quotes that you put out there, and your thumbnail states that you want to do some damage at Anfield. Do you feel more confident after your performance on the weekend yourselves, or more confident after Liverpool's performance that damage can be done?
Yeah, I just think what I see on Monday, and also against Bournemouth, you know what I mean, 2-0 up, and also don't forget it was 2-0 up against Arsenal at the back end of last season as well. What I see on, you know, I just, it wasn't just to say anything at Liverpool. I just think it, you know, we've got to go up there on Sunday and try and win the game. I take a draw, but I think it would be such a big thing. Do you know when? I think it was Leicester won the league. They went to Man City and beat Man City. They went to, I remember Chelsea going to, when they won the league, going to Man City. You know, when you're, you know, it is your rivals. Back in the day when we won a title in '91, we went up to Anfield. Paul Merson nicked the goal 1-0. Just sometimes it is a real big thing that you can do it. And I just watching the game on Monday, and if there is a weakness in Liverpool, I think it's defending set pieces. And as a team, like, I don't know what, there's a team called Arsenal who are probably a little bit good at that, like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that, you know, that listen, Liverpool at home is always a tough ask. You know, it would just, I think if we could go up there and get a result, it'd be such a big thing. I really do, like, you know what I mean? Look, it'd be a big thing if we could get a score.
Do you think this early in the season Arteta wants to play for the win now? Do you think he's got that in his locker at this moment in time, or he's got the hunger for that at this moment in time?
Do you know what? I don't know. That's one of the question marks over him, if I'll be honest, as he got up there. I think that if you go there, like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to be going to Anfield with all your big guns available, i.e. Saka and Odegaard. I don't know if they're going to be, but certainly Saka's not. But I just think that we've got ammunition now to do it. Last season we went there with Marino up front. We're going this season with Gyökeres. How can I say this? Like, you know, I've said it about Man United, and I'm going to say it about Liverpool. Like, you know, I think it ain't a bad, if you're going to be taking on Liverpool, it ain't a bad time to be taking them on, because there's no Isak yet, which I think that you will get. I think you're probably going to go and get Gay as well. So I think in 2 or 3 weeks' time, 4, 5, 6 weeks down the line, Liverpool are going to be a machine again. Like, you know what I mean? It's just not quite happening. Their fullbacks have been changed. I wouldn't be surprised if Robertson comes back in against us. You know, I don't know how you feel about that, you guys, but I just feel that he's not quite settled in there at this moment in time. I think Bradley will probably play right back. I think that, but I do think that because you just had to make a couple of false changes, if you like, you know what I mean, like in the team at the moment, just a couple of false changes. I think it gives us an opportunity. I'm not saying that we're going to go there and win and whatever, but I think it gives us an opportunity, like, you
know. Look, Mons, it's not been good for us there, bruv, at Anfield. I can't lie. We haven't beat you since 2012 with Podolski and Cazorla, bruv. It's been that long.
Yeah,
it's been a few draws of late. I think it's fair to say that Arsenal and Liverpool have been quite close, probably closest they've been in a long time. I was saying to Sam and a few other Liverpool fans I speak to, there's never really been a rivalry between Arsenal and Liverpool. Like, if you look at it, yeah, when Arsenal were quality, Liverpool was shit. And when Liverpool were brilliant, Arsenal was shit. And it's like we've never really actually clashed heads. And I thought that last season just gone, I thought, right, finally, might see a little bit of a rivalry between Arsenal and Liverpool. And let's be real, there was no title race. We just didn't really fancy getting ourselves into one, man. So what are you saying about this game coming up? This is a different Arsenal this season. It looks like a little bit of a different Liverpool. What are you saying about both teams this early, bruv?
From a Liverpool point of view, I'm with Arrow in it. There's still gaps. There's gaps that need to be filled right now, and there's work to be done. But, you know, it'd be a bit boring if you know, I would have preferred to win both games 2-0 against Bournemouth, you know, and Newcastle for both games to end 2-0. But at the end of the day, the positives for me is that we can play the way we've played, and for me, it's not looked convincing. Defensively, we look, again, very leaky. 1v1s look a bit spooky if you can isolate the right situations. However, as I said, the positive for me is just that Liverpool can look as bad as we've looked in parts of this season and still score 7 goals. Like, Wirtz hasn't even got started. Salah's not kicked off. You know, Gakpo, yeah, cool, he's got 3 GA, but has he really kicked? If you watch the game for 90 minutes, you're not gonna look at Gakpo and go, wow. You know what I'm saying? You're not looking at these guys and going, oh, this is the Liverpool we know, scintillating attack. We just have so much quality going forward that our stars can put out 6 out of 10s and we walk away with 4 goals. And that is one thing that I look at and go, you know what? That does give me encouragement, because if these guys click, then it gets real scary just from an attacking standpoint. And even for me, I think a lot of teams, there are not a lot of teams that can have their stars underperform and still score goals quite consistently. I think Liverpool are one of those teams that can do that. From a defensive standpoint, as I said, Van Dijk, it's a Van Dijk carry job. Van Dijk and Alisson carry job right now. That's just what it is. Konate has been drunk since he's come back from injury last season. I've been I'm a strong advocate to say that Konate, for me, is one of the most overrated defenders in this league. Love him to bits, but he's overrated. Fourth best centre back in the league. Fourth best centre back in the league, quite comfortably. Fourth best centre back in the league for me. But like, there's a gap. Like, it's 1, 2, and 3 with Van Dijk, Saliba, Gabriel. Konate is below that. Like, and that's fine. You can still be a very good centre back and not be the top 3 in the league. But Konate, for me, I'm not really with his head's not in it. I'm not here for those type of excuses, because the mistakes he's making is a pattern that I've seen for a long time. And unfortunately, he's a bozo, but he's our bozo. He's our bozo, but he's still a bozo. But people want to hear it or not, he's our bozo. And for me, he's still got a lot to learn. He's got a lot to learn. And in terms of positioning, very rash. Physically, he's probably more dominant than the other 3 that are even better than him. Physically, powerful, pace-wise, he has everything to be the best. But it's about up here. It's about up here for me. That is the superior trait as a centre-back. Don't always have to have every physical attribute to be the best, you know? So he needs to pull his socks up and fast, because especially with a team that are so good at set pieces like Arsenal, he will be found out. And we nearly paid the price against Newcastle, and we nearly paid the price against Bournemouth, and it's not something that's sustainable. That's just as simple as it is. Kirkes, I guess it's just, you know what? I think he comes good. I think he's got too much quality not to come good. I'm hearing whispers of Alberto Moreno. I think it's too soon to say that. I think it's way too soon to say that. Way too soon. But when you do change both your wing backs, there is going to be an imbalance. I think that's fair to say. There's going to be an imbalance. I don't think Frimpong had a really
quality going forward though, Kirkes, man. He's quality going forward.
He's
we haven't seen it yet, but so far we haven't seen it. Both of the fullbacks.
But for me,
go on.
Yeah, but no, I was just saying, Kirkes is the one that's kind of surprised me from a negative point of view. The one who actually was positive. I actually thought Frimpong would be quite average. I've actually been more impressed with Frimpong and gone, do you know what? Like, he's better defensively than what I thought he was, and he's way faster than what I thought he was. He's a lot. I didn't know he was. I knew he was quick. I didn't know he was that quick. Like Kyle Walker, quick. Like, do you know what I mean? And you know, people seem to forget that Liverpool have 4 right backs. You know what I'm saying? And the 2 goals we conceded against Bournemouth are when both wing backs came off the pitch. I never want to ever see Endo. I never want to see Endo play right back again for this club. Like, he can play for the club and say, I never put Endo at right back again. We can see this 2 goals so fast, we didn't know what hit us. Joe Gomez came in and was brilliant. I'm sure everyone, Joe Gomez came in for that period, came right back and was brilliant, had a great cameo. But for me, the number 1 right back is Szoboszlai right now. Yes, Frimpong is injured. So Bradley's not fit. Gomez isn't fit. Szoboszlai has to play right back. And for me, he can join in and be in the box midfield on the ball. Off the ball, he plays right back. He's stronger, faster. Project Valverde. Do you know what I'm saying? Szoboszlai Alves. You know what I'm saying? Saldini. Whatever you guys want to call him, I'm here for it. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm here for it. The Dominic Maicon. I'm here for it all. That is my right back, and I hope everyone understands the method to the madness. But against Arsenal, it's always going to be looking like a stalemate for me. Arsenal are too good defensively to ever think that we're going to roll them over, even though we're at Anfield. And you guys are still like us clicking into gear. I just think it's on the other side of the pitch. Even though you scored 5 goals against Leeds, I watched that game. I watched almost every Arsenal game as long as it's not clashing with Liverpool. You guys were horrible in the first half. Horrible. Just like us, horrible going forward. Leeds are fodder. Absolute fodder. I'm sorry. I don't care if they've got a victory against Everton. Away from home, Leeds are their bottle fart. They're fodder. It is what it is. I don't care what anyone says. But in terms of going forward, I haven't been convinced from Arsenal so far. But what you take away is the same thing that we take away. 6 points. You've got no goals conceded. And who can really talk to you? No one, really. No one. No, not an ounce of chat for Arsenal right now. You guys have gears to go up and you've got 100% record. Who can say anything, realistically? So for me, this is a perfect game to play because now you look at the team with an unbelievable defense and you look at the team with an unbelievable attack.
Mm-hmm.
So the battle, ideally, is probably going to be won in midfield. And I think Arsenal's midfield has looked a little bit stronger than ours.
Yeah, I think you speak facts there, Mons. I can't lie. Judges, coming to you, bro. Is it fair to say in the last 5 years, this is probably the most confident you felt going into Anfield, or is that doing too much?
Oh, yeah, a little bit too much. You know what I mean? I think that, you know, they're champions for a reason. And listen, one of the greatest things about it, I don't know how the Liverpool guys feel, but a little bit younger than me, that this is going back to the old days of Arsenal and Liverpool, when it was Arsenal and Liverpool battling it out. Like, you know, people forget about those days, but Arsenal and Liverpool, late 80s and early 90s, we sort of took the stranglehold off of Liverpool. Like, you know, they was the dominant team, and blimey, they had some fantastic football teams. And I've always
usually the first team for us to loosen our grip on it.
Say that again, sorry?
You were the first one. Obviously, we did the thing with Everton for a while, but you were the first one before Man U came on the scene for us to
yeah. Like, there was a little like, you know, in the 80s, which must have been unbelievable for the city of Liverpool. It was Everton and Liverpool going at it, and but they couldn't really get it off of you. But we did, obviously, with the, you know, the famous game, like in '89. But it was. It was a good rivalry, like, you know, and I think there's always been a rivalry between Arsenal and Liverpool, but it's not been as intense. But I think that it's starting to get that way now. I think that this is a game that I think that, which is a good thing. I think that the whole of the footballing country will be looking at. Where in times by maybe that they haven't, but I think it's last season was intriguing that both games finished a draw. I think Liverpool slightly better in both, if I'll be honest, but somehow we managed to get results. But this one, I think that, I just feel that we're in a good position. I take on board we didn't play well in that first 30 minutes against Leeds, and we had to be patient and things like that. But in the second half, I see lots of things better, and I think if we can defend properly, I think that this time around we've got a lot of ammo now. Like, that's how I do see it. I do feel that if we can defend, we're always going to create something. As we did against Man United, we only didn't play well at all against Man United, but we kept the clean sheet. So I think if we can keep the clean sheet, keep the crowd quiet, because Anfield can be, I wouldn't never say hostile, but it can be very, very energetic. But if you can get it quiet, by getting it. I remember a couple of seasons ago, we went 1-0 up within 5 minutes. We were 3-1 down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, what we've got to do is get that goal and then, defend. And I think, like, if we play like we did a couple of seasons ago, listen, that was a fantastic game, the 2-2. We should have won it. In the end, we could have lost it. And it ended a draw. It was like, that's how it was. So I'd like it to be a little bit like that, but not as dramatic at the end. And if we can get in front, stay in front. Like, even that game, when I look back at that, we was 2-0 up and we conceded right on half time. Bit of sloppiness in our play. But I think that the one thing I will say about it, so saying it on the radio, I don't know how you guys feel about this since Wirtz has come in. There's a little bit more, the midfield being a little bit more open. So because he's more of an attacking player, so that's sort of leaving a few gaps in there. Now, if that can be the case, hopefully, our midfield can get on top of it, and if they do leave gaps in midfield, I do believe Arsenal with Rice, Zubimendi, whether it be Odegaard or Ethan Wanyeri, it could even be Eze. I think that maybe we've got something that can do that. The good thing at the moment now is, guys, from our point of view, from an Arsenal point of view, we've got a lot of options, not just who's going to play on the bench as well, and I think that's something that could be key in this game. It's not always necessarily the 11 that wins you the game. So, and I think that Liverpool, as you see on Monday night, it was the substitutes that come on and done the business, and so it'll be interesting there. McAllister obviously out at the moment, so if he comes back in, that he's a top class,
massive.
So if he's playing, that strengthens you guys up. I like Curtis Jones, but I think he's not in the league of a McAllister or a Rice or a Zubimendi. So I think that that could be a key little area there. Like, as I say, when you've got a player like Wirtz in the team at the moment, it's going to take a little while for him to get going. The pace of the Premier League, and the strength of it all as well. And he's not a big lad, is he? So he's going to have to, it may take him 2 or 3 more games yet. You know what I mean? That's what I'm hoping for anyway, and we can exploit that. So, but listen, I think that to say oh yeah, we're definitely going to go and win this. I'm not on that boat, but I'm on a boat that's saying that if Arsenal go there and win, I wouldn't be going, well, that's a shock, or a surprise. I think there's vulnerability in Liverpool, as there is with Arsenal as well. You guys know that, you've exploited it over the years. So I think that I just feel that as you say, Santi Cazorla scored that and Podolski scored that goal.
Yeah.
They're bloody retired now. Well, Cazorla hasn't, But they've been retired 5 years. Podolski has, anyways. Come on, it's about time we went up there and got a result.
It is. It really is, man. Look, Errol, before I come to team news from both Liverpool and Arsenal, is it fair to say, in the last 5 years that Arsenal have caught up massively, not just in terms of position, but in terms of squad now? I look at the scenario of Alisson, got Raya. He's not as good as Alisson, but he's like one of the best in the league. Defensively, I think we're better. I think we've just spoken about that. Obviously, in midfield right now, we're pretty solid with Rice, Zubimendi, Odegaard, Eze's coming in. And then the front three with Gyökeres and Saka. Eze is probably going to be our left winger. We've still got obviously backup with that now as well. I'd say it's pretty even now. I don't think I think Liverpool miles ahead not long ago, really. I feel like it's quite even now. Is that fair?
I'd disagree.
You're probably not going to like what I'm going to say, to be honest with you, in response to that, Potts, because I've likened Arsenal to Liverpool for probably the last 2-3 seasons to a period of Liverpool that I had seen from 13-14 to probably the Champions League final where we got beat by Real Madrid the first time round. And I've said you have looked very similar. And what I mean by that is 13-14 Liverpool were expected to win the league, but out of nowhere we came and we put up a good fight and probably still should have won the league. But individual errors, as we all know, cost us back end. And it's probably highlighted more as a bit of a standout. But at that time, I thought that was our year. If we didn't win then, at that moment in time, 13-14, I couldn't, with the team we had, foresee us being able to go and mount a challenge the next year or sustain it year on year. I just couldn't see it automatically. Yeah, stuff like that. And obviously, those type of, PR noises are very similar. You've heard stuff in your recent time. We hear stuff or had been hearing stuff for a number of years. And then when Klopp came, it looked like, all right, you might not necessarily have the team or the squad, but eventually you could see where he was trying to take us to be more competitive. And it was about breaking into that top four. And then once you break into that top four, holding down top four along the way, we're trying to get to finals or be putting yourselves in title races and bringing yourself in that conversation. And I think by the time we went and got our Van Dijk, this is where I'm up to with the Arsenal. By the time we got Van Dijk and Alisson, Van Dijk and Alisson, that's what transformed that team to become winners. And this is where I'm currently at with Arsenal. I said to you 2 seasons ago, Potts, if Declan Rice comes into that midfield and he transforms that midfield in the same way that Van Dijk transformed the midfield for Liverpool, defence for Liverpool, then Arsenal will have done that thing because they'll become the winners. They'll have done the one thing that they've struggled to do for a number of years and get it over the line. And he hasn't necessarily delivered on that. What I would say is that now, not necessarily he's closed that gap, but that overlap that I've seen between the two comparisons is leading me to think that he's still on the right track. Now, we don't know what it's going to be at this moment in time as fans from the outside looking in, and what's going to be that transformative thing for you. Is it going to be a new signing? Is it going to be that you get more fortunate in terms of some of your fixtures or the results in your fixtures and you convert more of those draws into wins? Is it going to be Mikel Arteta helping getting you over the line? Does Mikel Arteta have to go in the next 12 months and somebody else comes in and then he makes his winners straight off the bat? There's still a piece missing for me from this Arsenal perspective that makes me think, because what Liverpool haven't just done, Potts, when we finally won the Premier League was win and then just sit and be happy with top four. If that would have been the case, I'd have said, yeah, he's probably caught up to us, because year in, year out, it's between me or you, Arsenal, Liverpool vying for that top four place most years, and one of us might do a little decent cup run. But what Liverpool have been able to do is sustain that winning mentality and that hunger and that desire to win more. Since winning the Champions League, we've won the Prem twice. We've won the Carabao Cup twice. We've won an FA Cup, won a Club World Cup. Like, we went on to do that, and until Arsenal are really in that bracket, I struggle to sit there and say you have actually caught up to Liverpool, because where this Liverpool side currently is, we're still quite in terms of our journey, we're still quite ahead down the road than Arsenal at the moment for me. But I give credit to what you have done in recent times, because he's within the doldrums, lad, innit? Like, we all know that he's with the fans. And I seen a post the other day, and I've said this to you a couple of times, Potts. Remember when I say your fan base at the moment is, this is a period for them that they deem to be successful, because for the most part they haven't really seen an Arsenal at its pomp. Lad, there was a kid on AFTV, and I don't know him. So, and again, this isn't me slagging him off or anything, because he's an Arsenal fan. He was a kid 10 years ago, maybe 2014, popping his head up in an AFTV video, getting gassed with life because he's on the YouTube and he's around whoever it was in the video at the time. Fucking fast forward to 2025, he's there doing fan cams. So that tells me straight away, this one young lad in his whole period of being big enough to go to matches and get involved with it all has only really ever seen Arsenal through the lens of YouTube, 4K, banter here and all the rest of it. So of course, to him, Arsenal, it looks good right now. At the end of the day, all he's got in living memory is this to really go off to say, well, this is the best Arsenal team I've ever seen. Saliba's the best centre-back I've ever seen at the club. Odegaard's the best number 10 I've seen at the club, or, you know, plays in that position. Saka's the best right winger we've ever had at the club. So,
screaming hearing that. I could know that is, yeah.
It's mad, but it's the truth. And that's why there is swaps and stuff, because growing up, them kids had their our fellas and uncles telling them how great the Arsenal was, talking about the Invincibles. But it wasn't your cousins, it was your uncles and your dads telling you that. All of a sudden, these kids now have been fed that and have always just propped Arsenal up, despite he's not really delivering on the pitch. So I think he's done well in recent times. I think, obviously, looking at this season ahead now, I've said it to you already, Potts, it's make or break. Because that year that you nearly did it the first time and fell short, I wouldn't say you bottled it, you fell short. I said that was your best opportunity. If you don't get it and go for it there, I can't see Liverpool being bad 2-3 seasons on the bounce. I can't see Chelsea not wanting to get involved. I can't see Newcastle not rising up. There will be other teams that make it harder for Arsenal to do the job other than just City. And as I say, the one season where City fall off and you would expect Arsenal to rise to the occasion, Liverpool, from myself included, from the outside looking in, we went and just stole a march on you. And that was with a team that hadn't had the investments in midfield. I think we've still got the best midfield. We've got McAllister and we've got Gravenberch. They haven't played a game since, I think it was a 2-2 back end of the season. So it's been a couple of months since they played in the midfield together. And in terms of the Florian Wirtz stuff, I think the game on Monday was never going to suit him or his style. He was going to be a rabbit in the headlights on Monday. It was just, we needed him. We needed the extra bodies in there. If he could create something great, more for the rhythm, more than anything else.
Do you know, I agree, though, I agree with what you're saying in relation to the 13-14 stuff. I actually think the 13-14 relation is the manager, not the squad. I think our squad's better than your squad now than it was your squad in 13-14, personally.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It might be that Arteta's a bit of a Brendan and not a Klopp or a Pep, right? But what I will say is, I don't know, I'll bring Mons in on this as well. Like, I don't look at Liverpool's squad and go, we ain't getting near that. We ain't getting near that. Arsenal's miles off. I don't think it is.
No way.
The manager might be. I think, Slot has proven that he's waltzed in and gone, yo, Jurgen, why did it take you 9 years, bruv? I've done 1 in 1. Like, how hard is it? Like, I think he's been unbelievable, Slot. Like, ridiculously good, right? I think with Arteta, I still think he's got a lot to prove. So I look at the Liverpool and Arsenal scenario very different. So, yeah, you're not as good as us yet. Yeah, we're not as good as you because you've proven you can win. But I think the squad's not far off you. I don't think it's miles off at all. I think there's quite a lot. If we did a combined 11, I think there'd probably be a little bit halves and halves, personally. I think there's still gaps in the Liverpool side and there's still gaps in the Arsenal side. So I feel like it's fairly close. 2 good squads now, Mons.
But even when you were in Champions League, though, Potts, we would have wanted players from your squad and you were in Champions League and we were struggling to get into it. And you would have still taken players from us. I think that's been the case for Liverpool.
I agree. I agree, but I don't think it was a few years ago, Errol. I think it was like, how many of these Arsenal players get anywhere near the Liverpool 11? That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, that was 2018. That was 2018 to probably 2020, about 2017/2018 to maybe 22-23. I'd say
Agreed.
that period there. But no, when I said I didn't agree on that, I just think that I feel like you're not like miles away from us. And I think player for player, there's an argument to say that Arsenal have a more balanced squad. I think Arsenal probably are more balanced than Liverpool right now. I just think your manager drains the creativity and life and create and the guy out of a lot of the players that are better than what we get to see from Arsenal on a week in, week out basis. That's just what I think it is. I generally think, like, I'm not sure how you guys feel about Arteta at this moment in time, whether you guys are Lee and Potts, or you guys Arteta out in, or you kind of just somewhere in between where it's just like, don't really care right now, let's just get us over the line.
I think
just
me and
before
Lee
I say what I'm about to say.
Yeah. I think me and Lee are a little bit different. I'll let Lee come in after. I'm kind of done and have been for quite some time with Mikel. A lot of the fan base are giving him this is the last time. You go win. You've got the squad now.
I hear that every year, Dan, but I hear what you're saying. I do hear that every
facts.
year.
Yeah, I hear it every year, Months as well. Trust me. And I get the goalpost moved, bruv. But I've wanted this guy replaced since COVID, if I'm honest, because I never thought he was good enough. And I appreciate he's got us to that level. I just don't know if he can do that. That's my question mark. Like, cool, he's got us competing, challenging. We were doing that anyway, to be fair, under Wenger. However, he's got us back to the top where we genuinely believe we can actually win the league. But can he do it? He can't even get a Carabao Cup at the moment with his side, or an FA Cup. Definitely not a Champions League or a Prem. So I would have replaced him by now and gone and got the elite, like a Luis Enrique type manager. But a lot of the fan base are on the other side. Lee, I think, is more in the middle, but I'll let judges come in quickly. Go on, bro.
Yeah, I'm still very much like thinking that he can do it this season, but I do think that he's got to win something this season with this squad and these players. I think this squad is so much stronger than it has been before.
He's been given everything now.
Yeah, he has. He's got all the tools to do it. Now that doesn't mean to say that he's got a stronger squad than Liverpool and whatever, but I had a look at Liverpool's bench on Monday night. It's just not as strong as Arsenal's, you know what I mean? Like, so I do think that, don't get me wrong, Liverpool got a few injuries and they still haven't sorted their squad out yet, and they're going to go another way. The good thing from Liverpool's point of view is that there's no real rush to do it neither. I don't think they're in a position where they're desperate to get anybody, and I think that's there. The other question that you can throw at Liverpool is that they've won the league. Why is there so many changes? Why has Diaz gone? Why has Núñez gone? Why has there's been a lot of changes for Liverpool? It may be that Slots feels that this is the time there that he wants to make it his own team, and you have to give him a lot of credit last season that he didn't come in there and change it all around. He see what was good there and just tinkered with it a little bit. But he's starting to put his own authority on it now, his own sort of stamp on it, which should happen. And he's got a little bit of time to do that. I think that last season, nothing against Liverpool, they done their business. They didn't really get challenged. So, but they've been used to being challenged over the years when they played Manchester City. So it's not that they're against that. But I just think that there is a lot of changes that's happened at Liverpool over the lot, to change a lot of the forwards in there,
Well, that's Lee, just to cut you, but that's why those changes have been made, because I think if Liverpool were challenged last season, no one can sit there and say completely that we win the league. If there's a level of Man City
I get that
we've seen previous season, that's why the Darwins had to go. That's why Diaz, who I think was probably over criticized in this time. Me personally, I think he was over criticized. Like, when he's gone, you could kind of see what he brought that isn't quite there anymore, even now. But there was, in big moments, post knee injury, Diaz did struggle in these big moments in the run-ins that Liverpool actually technically haven't won a title race since in the Premier League era. We blew everyone out the water in 2019, 2020, and there wasn't really, and I'm not calling what we saw from Arsenal last year a title race. I'm sorry, I'm not calling it a title race. So
the season before they were, weren't they? And they got to a certain stage and
the wheels fell off.
Yeah.
And that's why those players had to. Well, I think it was the end of the road for those players. So again, I don't mind the change, because I think the change has to be for the better and to be even more convincing, of course, because like what Fergie used to do, refreshments have to be made. You can't keep and stay stagnant. The reason I was talking about the Arteta in and out thing, not to kind of brandish, paint you guys with a brush of Arteta out or Arteta in as per se, but I think the people that can't see past Arteta, I think they suffer from Stockholm syndrome, personally. Because at the end of the day, just because Arteta has brought you from the depths of hell to where you are now, it doesn't mean where you are now is the pinnacle of what Arsenal should be. Because as if you're an older Arsenal fan, you'd know this is nowhere near the heights that you've seen your club reach. Nowhere near. No, not when I say nowhere near. Yes, second place. But in terms of getting second to first is a much bigger jump than 8th to 4th or 8th to 5th. It's a much bigger and much more difficult jump to make. And realistically, it's like if you only get 5 out of 10s, if the women you go for are 5 out of 10s, and you go and get yourself a 7.5 out of 10, yeah, you're gonna think she's the bee's knees. You're gonna think she's everything you've ever needed until you go and meet a 9. Do you see what I'm saying? Until you go and win that league, that's when the promised land, you really understand the difference between the promised land and someone bringing you up from where you were. And I'm not saying Arteta is so much Liverpool's Brendan Rodgers. I just think that this is the absolute limit now. Like, if he doesn't, like, this is the end, like the end game. And realistically, I think it's one step too far. He's had too many end games. He's had too many end games at the moment. Do you know what I'm saying? As I said, this Arsenal team, from an individual standpoint, I think is actually very good. I think Saka looks quite robotic. I think he's been overplayed. I think Arsenal right now, it's been 2 games, don't necessarily play to Gyökeres' strengths, even though that will come, I think, with time. I think Arteta has to make that work with time. And I don't think that Eze in the left wing is probably going to get the best out of him. I think you get the best out of him in Odegaard's position. But even Odegaard as well, him in this whole 8 position, having to do loads of running and doing all these things, I think it takes away from getting him on the half turn in the dangerous areas where you saw the best of him, where you saw Ben White, Odegaard, and Saka. That threesome, that free stuff is crazy. Pause that free
trio.
That was a dangerous 3. That trio was crazy. I don't know if you guys in that 2023, Odegaard, Saka, Ben White was unreal. He was unplayable. I don't care what no one said, it was unplayable. And I just feel like I haven't seen those patterns. You've got better defensively, but I just generally feel like Arteta needs to take the shackles off from an attacking standpoint and let the players express themselves the way I think they can. I'm one of the people that still, I rate Odegaard. I think Odegaard's a top player. And this whole notion that he's all of a sudden he's rubbish. The funniest one to me that when people say Eze is better than Odegaard, for the life of me, like Eze is a good player. He's a good player. Love him to bits, but bro, he's not better than Odegaard. I'm sorry. Like the best version of Odegaard we've seen, not for me, innit? You know what I'm saying? It's just, I feel like for me, these players need to be they need to take the shackles off and let Saka go crazy. Saka's so good, he'll still look good while being robotic. But I think there's higher ceilings to reach if Arteta allows, if he stops the robotic nature going forward for Arsenal, in my opinion. Like people won't like that opinion for me. Pep got away with the robotic nature because he had the best players in the league in most positions. You know, he was able to get away with it. I don't think Arsenal quite have that luxury. So that's kind of my opinion on like the Arsenal-Liverpool comparison. I feel like our players are allowed to express themselves a bit more.
I get it.
Dan, I just think that with Arsenal at the moment, like, you know, there's always been something not quite right. Like, you know, went like without a centre forward last season, like, you know, for a half part. They've got all of those things now. The squad's strong enough. There's no excuses. There isn't no more. Like, you can't say it's up to him. You know, oh, we're not used to playing with Gyökeres. We'll find a way to play with Gyökeres because he's your guy now. Eze is a class player, like, you know what I mean? We've got players that can play in different positions up there. Like there's strength in depth. You know, listen, I don't know about how you feel, Dan. I'm gutted, obviously, like Saka's not available for this game. End of the world.
And Odegaard, it looks like Odegaard could be a question mark as well.
Yeah, but it's not the end of the world where like this time last season, oh, that's it, we ain't getting nothing from that. So all the attacking options are still there. He's got a very, very good defence. And I agree with to what you're saying there. Like, when you've got the best defence in the world, why, you know, like, you only need one player to protect it, like, you know what I mean, a Vieira or a Zubimendi to protect it. You've got other players, then you want to just to be attacking, like, you know. And listen, there's going to be times on Sunday that we're not going to have the ball because Liverpool are a good side. That's how it is. And we've got to defend. But when we do get the ball, I do think that we have got to show a little bit more than what we have done in the past. You know, look, listen, we could have beat Liverpool last season at Anfield once we went 2-0 down and the shekels sort of had to come off. We had to go for it, like. So why can't we be doing that at 0-0 and get 1-0 and then go, right, do you know what? We've got them. Let's go and take them, like, you know. I felt last season we went too many times 1-0 up, playing quite well, and then just thought, oh, we better sit back here and got done. That can't happen, like, you know what I mean, as much as... Listen, we didn't have a back four when we played Liverpool at home last season. Like, little things like that, you know, if we get an injury now to Ben White or whatever, or Timber, we've got Ben White to cover it. If Ben White's not playing, Timber's playing. We've not got any excuses whatsoever. And if Arsenal don't win the league, guys, it is down to the manager. It's as simple as that. You're going to have to, and the Arteta-ins and whatever, and myself and all that, are going to have to hold their hands up and say that, yeah, we've got to look for someone that's just going to get us over the line, because you've got the players now. I don't think Liverpool are the same as Man City of 2-3 years ago when they was winning the treble, when they was an unbelievable side. I think that Liverpool are a very, very good side, but they're not over the hill and far away. There's not a great deal between the two sides, as the bookies are saying it, like, you know, they feel it's quite even. Now, it might be different if Liverpool go and sign a few players, but we don't know how that's going to work, boys. You know what I mean? You don't know the dynamics of what that's going to do. Ekitike at the moment is playing really, really well. What happens to him if Isak does come in? Like, you know, there's all little things. But from my point of view, I think Liverpool are a really, really good side. Will be there at the end of the season. You know that as Liverpool fans. We know that as Arsenal fans. And I feel that I do think that. Do you know what? It's better like that. There's other teams in it. You know what I mean? Like a Newcastle, that's going to be a tough place to go. Chelsea's are going to be a tough place for both of us to go last season. We're not going to get easy points there. Tottenham's going to be a very difficult place for anybody this season to go to, let me tell you. You know, so that I think makes it a bit better when you just think, oh, well, Liverpool got so-and-so, they're going to win there, or Arsenal going to win there. All of a sudden, you know, these big games mean everything to you, like. But I do think that Arsenal will drop points. And I think Liverpool will as well, perhaps in places that they shouldn't. But Liverpool, don't forget, last season, I think they lost to Forest and then went on an incredible run, like, you know what I mean? So they're capable of doing it under this manager. So it'd be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. I think that, you know, Liverpool want to put out a marker against us to just say, look, you know, we're still the kings and we need to put out a marker to them, like, you know. So I think it's good. Interesting game.
That will be. It'll be huge,
I think,
man.
Dead quick, sorry, Potts. One of the things that I think is going to be the most interesting is what it does for the mentality. And that's why I said to you before about, you know, does Arteta go to play to win the game? Because if you go and you shut up shop, and you're not saying you shut up shop, but you go and you hold out for a draw, it's as you were. You know, we're both on. You know, you're on this competition, and you're no further ahead than we are. Whereas if you go and you leave yourselves too open, as Lee said before, we're 1-0 up, and then the next minute we're 3-1 down, and that's the game done. What message does that say mentally to the Arsenal players? Like, bloody hell, they've done a number on us again, you know, and they've got a bit of a lead on us now, a bit of a gap. And then vice versa. If you do go for the win and get it, what does that say to the Arsenal players in terms of, we've finally done something we haven't done in 12, 13 years or whatever it is. Got to win there in Anfield. Now we've got a lead on them. Let's just keep our foot on the gas and make sure that we don't drop any points, or any points that they drop, we drop as well in the same sort of way. So it'll be really, really interesting for me, because I don't think Liverpool have got much to lose in that respect. But at home, we've got to turn up and play our game. But I think from an Arsenal perspective, it'll be interesting in terms of what mentality did he want to be leaving Anfield with? Did he want to feel like they can go and win it? Or did he want to feel like, actually, we've still got quite a bit of a gap between us and them?
Yeah, man. I think it's. Oh, sorry, I'll go on mute, bro. It's your echo is terrible, man. I think for me, this win at Anfield would be massive. Doesn't mean we're going to go win the league, but the mentality, like you say, will be like, whoa, serious. Arsenal was serious. Arsenal have done something they ain't been able to do since 2012. They've gone and beaten a Liverpool side that's different to the one back then. So I think you're right, man. I was going to come to you, Errol, on a few super chats here, bruv. Voice of Reason says Liverpool's team news. If we play last season's midfield, we'll win. But use Wirtz as a bench option. He's not acclimatized yet. Don't take the risk in a 6-point game. Gravenberch, McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai, Salah, Ekitike, and Gakpo. I dropped Kirkes for Robbo. What do you make to your team news? Are we going to expect to see the same team that faced Newcastle, bruv, on the weekend?
Probably not. No, I can't imagine. So I think if McAllister's available, I think he'll end up back in the midfield. Brian Gravenberch, which then means Jones will probably then drop down to the bench. I think we've got to look at how do we make that bench look a little bit stronger. If Bradley's fit enough to start the game, I was surprised he came on the other night, but if he's fit enough, he should probably start at right back for me. At this particular moment in time, at least give him 60 out there, and then if you've got to do a little bit of shuffling and get Jones on the pitch, move to Szoboszlai back there to see out the game, then I'm happy with that. I don't really think he'll throw Robbo in for Kirkers at this point. I think this will be the real acid test for Kirkers, because as much as I said before, Wirtz I think will suit the Arsenal game. I think likewise, I think the opportunity for Kirkers on that left-hand side will suit that type of game as well for him. And I'm hoping then if he can kick on after a good performance, great. But if he has a bit of a sketchy performance with Arsenal, I think in terms of stylistically, it's probably one of the more type of games you'd look at and think, yeah, I should really be getting the better down there right-hand side a little bit and making some grounds and trying to be a little bit more progressive up the pitch, because we've just seen him be quite a bit reserved in the way that he's approached things. So it'll be interesting if we'll probably have to have other conversations after the international break if he doesn't step up in the Arsenal game. But I think Wirtz again, I think this game suits him more than any of the other two games we've had so far this season. So I'm looking forward to really seeing if he can actually step up in what the lads already said there is a big 6-pointer.
No, absolutely. Mons, team news for Arsenal and Liverpool. What are you expecting? Obviously, Ødegaard and Saka are doubts. Liverpool, McAllister potentially back in. Not sure about fitness levels of some of the other players. Where do you see this team news for both teams, and where do you think the game could be won, bruv?
For midfield, I think the game's going to be won in midfield. I think that'll be it. Obviously, we play more of a pivot and a 10 as opposed to you guys who have the midfield free. However, for me, what I would do, and I think what Slot would do, are slightly different. Sobo would start right back, absolutely, again, in my opinion. He'd play it right back, but in possession, we'd form a box midfield, similar to what we did against Man City when we won 2-0, and what we did against Newcastle when we won 2-0, where we had Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, Grav, and Mac as a box midfield. And in those bigger games, that box midfield, that 4-2-2-2, or the diamond is what some will call it, that 4-2-2-2, it was very sturdy, very defensively sound. You had the protection, yet you also had the backing of, the 2 10s right behind Salah and Cody, or Salah and Diaz, whichever one would start. I'd opt for that style against quite a formidable Arsenal side, in my opinion. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd go with Szoboszlai right back, but as soon as we're in possession, just right back to that box midfield again. Let Konate defend the wide flanks, what he does best. And out of possession, you have Szoboszlai in the right back position, who physically can be quite dominant as well. So that would be what I think, because Frimpong's going to be a miss. Martinelli is someone who tends to give us problems, even though I think he's a scrub. He's genuinely, I don't know what he does, don't know what he is against Liverpool, but he just tends to play really well against us. But I don't think he'll start. I think it will be Eze starting in the 10, and maybe I think Noni might get the nod. Noni might get the nod ahead of him. This is just my assumption. I think Martinelli probably come off the bench and try and do his damage that way. But yeah, in terms of Liverpool's thing, I think the front line will be the same. But like what Errol said, Wirtz absolutely will play. I think the way to bed in these players is to play them through these times. By the way, for the record, Wirtz has not been poor. Wirtz has just not been 160 millions worth. Two things can be true at the same time. Two things can be true at the same time. And he needs to improve and he needs to climatize, and fast. But I think you climatize players like this to play against teams like Arsenal. He's going to want to play in games like this. And I think that people just seem to forget that we are at Anfield. Like, if we're going to the Emirates, I think it's a bit of a different conversation, but this is at Anfield. Arsenal do not have Saka. We should be looking at this game where we should be aiming to take the 3 points, not necessarily settling for a draw. Arsenal are weakened heavily. Saka is I don't care if Saka hasn't got going this season. He's a massive miss. If Salah had gone missing, or regardless, that the same thing with Salah. Salah's not got going this season, but he'd be it's a massive miss, whatever way you look at it, And we'll see. As I said, maybe Martinelli might get the start, because I think most things point to Martinelli starting. I think if Odegaard's a doubt, Eze starts. I think if Saka's not playing, Noni probably starts on the right wing, which is probably his preferred position anyway. And then that kind of leaves the only one to fight against is really Trossard on that left side. It's probably the only one to really battle against Martinelli for the space. So it probably does look like Martinelli will start. If he doesn't, then the writing's probably on the wall. If he doesn't, if he doesn't, the writing's probably on the wall for Martinelli. But yeah, in terms of team news, that's what I think it will be. Pretty much the same team. I don't think Kirkes gets dropped. I think it's a similar thing. It's a sink or swim. Sink or swim. You take him out the firing line now, you get a similar effect as what you did to Kwanzaa for a while when you got taken out of the firing line after Delap terrorized them game week 1. And I don't think we want that for a new signing. I think Kirkes will come good, but you got to throw these guys into the deep end. Again, if we're going to the Emirates, I would have dropped Kirkes. I would have maybe thought about dropping Wirtz or maybe moving Wirtz out to the left. I would have made changes would have had to be made at the Emirates. This is Anfield. This is Anfield for me. So go express yourselves, do what you do, and the individual players will win their individual battles, and that's what's going to win you the game. Winning midfield, I think it's I can't tell you how many draws Liverpool and Arsenal keep churning out, man. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a draw. A 2-2 result would not surprise me at all. But we'll have to see, man.
Look, man, we'll come to predictions in a sec. Let me just chuck these super chats to you, judges, and then we'll come to team news and predictions for Arsenal, and then go from there and then close. This one comes in from Donny. It says, if Arsenal play like they did against United, they should be worried. They were bossed by crap United. This is Anfield. Liverpool have had far harder start. Look, I don't know. I personally feel like Arsenal against United were poor. We take the 3 points. Against Leeds, we were good. I've not been massively impressed by Liverpool so far, I will say that. Sniper Scope says, can we deep with the way that Berta's moving? Arteta's finishing second 3 times in a row. Imagine a decent sporting director. Proves that Edu has let him down. Andrea Berta's been moving mad. To be bringing in Cape, that's 8 players this window. I never thought Arsenal would bring in 8 players. Let me tell you that now. So fair play to him. Lawrence says, just read that the Carabao Cup draw is being split into 2 draws. What time is the first draw being made? I think the draw is being made after United's game. Apparently they're splitting the Carabao Cup into 2 this season because it will clash otherwise with the Champions League and Europa League games. Now, I've not read all of it, but apparently there's an article suggesting that it will be a different Carabao Cup draw this year. They'll be split into 2. I have no idea how that's going to work. But tune in after Man United Grimsby, people, because apparently that's how it's going to be drawn. So let's see what happens. Be very interesting.
Starting, by the way. Sesko is starting, guys, versus Grimsby. I mean,
well, he's got to score against Grimsby, let me tell you that. Because apparently Gyökeres didn't score against United and was a flop, even though Wirtz has stunk out the gaff for the last couple and no one's mentioned it. But as soon as Gyökeres, he's awful.
No, Wirtz is getting bullied. No, Wirtz is getting Havertz, Squidward's.
He is now. He is now. You should have seen Gyökeres after game week 1 for not scoring 4 goals in 2 games. It's like, come on, guys.
He was rubbish against United. He was rubbish against United.
Yeah, he was. He was bad. He wasn't against.
But it was
Leeds.
game 1, isn't it? It was first game, so it's like.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's weird. It's just weird. Hard. I don't get it. These people have 2 games and they think Gyökeres is going to score 5 goals in 2 games. It's weird. But listen, judges. What's your 11 for Arsenal? What's your Arsenal 11 for Liverpool? I should say, and then we'll go into predictions. What are you saying, judges?
My predict if Ben White's fit, Ben White right back, and I'll put Timber over at left back. Central defenders goes without saying, Gabriel and Saliba. Raya, of course, in goal. My 3, if fit, Odegaard gets the nod. If not, Wanyeri. Then it'll be Rice and Zubimendi. And my front 3 will be on the right, Madueke, in the middle, Gyökeres and Martinelli on the left.
Okay, interesting. I think for me, I go Raya, I go Ben White, I go Timber left back, I go Saliba, Gabriel. If Odegaard's fit, he'll play, but otherwise I would go, personally, I would go with Zubimendi, Rice and Eze. Martinelli, Madueke, and Gyökeres. That's what I think I'm going to go with. If Odegaard's in, I'll play Eze left and Odegaard in the middle. That's what I think I'd do. So let's see what happens, man. Before we come to predictions and close, people were calling it in the chat. Instead of doing it, because it would take forever, put together a combined 11 just to you guys to have a little bit of a chat over and see if you agree or disagree with this, man. So Alisson, Timber, Van Dijk, Saliba, Kirkes, Rice, McAllister, Wirtz, Saka, Salah, Gyökeres. Anyone saying that's crazy? Anyone says that's mad? Anyone thinks that anyone shouldn't be in there? What are we saying, people? What are we saying?
I'll put Grab in that team.
I'd have Ekatike in there as well. Sorry. He's got 3 and 3. He's got 3 and 3.
And 3 and 3.
Yeah, Wirtz don't get in it.
No, I'll take Herbert. Wirtz isn't in this team. Wirtz isn't in this team.
That's fine for me now.
Are we going by just the first 2 games?
I was going in general, but if we want to go by first 2 games, we can do that.
It depends what that does depend. If it's first 2 games, Wirtz isn't in this team. Ekatike is in the team.
I never go by games when it's only 2. Like if it was like halfway through the season, I'd say fair. But I think looking at who's been signed and if everyone's fit, who you're putting on the pitch, if it's an FA Cup final, I'm probably going.
If it was a final tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Me, I think Grav has to be in the team.
Ahead of. Don't say Rice, please.
Couscous, man. Couscous. It's got to be.
It's probably
It's
got to be
gotta be.
over Verts, you know.
And you'd have Macker in the 10.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that. I can't have Rice not in the team, man. There's no way.
I'd have Gravenberch in the team, Kirkes out the team, and Ekatike in the team. So I'll take out Kirkes and put one of the
Who would you put at left back?
I'd have said Lewis-Skelly before the 2 games of the season. I haven't seen much of him this season, of course, it's early days. But Calafiori has impressed in the first 2 games. I'll probably go Lewis-Skelly. Or maybe, I just think, as I said, but Kirkes was wonderful last year as well. So that's an argument. But I'd have Gravenberch has to be in this midfield. He just has to be in the midfield for me. It'd be difficult to take out. Yeah, difficult. But yeah, Ekatike goes up top for me. Yeah, Ekatike goes up top.
Judges?
If you're going on the 2 games, as I say, like, you know what I mean, it's a difficult one, like, you know what I mean, because Mo Salah's been poor in the first 2 games, but still scored and assisted, like, you know what I mean. So you can't leave him out there. Why don't we put both of them in there, Ekatike and Gyökeres? I think at the end of the day, you got listen. I think Liverpool have had the tougher games. If I'll be honest, Newcastle away, Bournemouth at home, I think it's tougher than our 2 on paper. I think. So he's got 3 goals in 2 games. So you can't leave him out. Can't leave him out. Rice stays in, like, don't matter, as best in there. Gravenberch played very, very well the other night. Can't not leave him out. And Zubimendi's played very, very well as well. So McAllister hasn't done nothing in the first couple of games, but you know, last season he was outstanding.
That's why I've gone in general, man. Because I think
in general, I think you've got to go McAllister.
I think it proves how close we are. I think it proves like they're 2 good squads, man. 2 good 11s.
Yeah, they're both very, very good squad. I'd leave Verts out of it because even I have to say, you know what I mean, 10 men against Newcastle, they took him off. You know what I mean? This is going to take a little bit of time for it, but class will tell, guys. Don't panic. Class will tell when he's going to be a very good player. But I don't think he's quite there at this moment in time. Same with Curtis. I think probably these guys don't realise what a big club Liverpool is until they get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
Maybe. Let's Yeah, no, I'm with you. Let me just do this.
No, disrespect to Leverkusen and
oh yeah, of course, it's a different level. Oh, absolutely,
completely different level to what they're
completely.
at.
I think Florian Wirtz is an absolute baller. I got to be honest. I think he's going to ball out. However, yeah, it's absolutely different level. But I do think he's top quality.
It'll take him a few weeks, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course it will, man. KK says Anfield will be roaring. I expect a Liverpool win. Wirtz and Ekatike are going to shine. Putting on them from minute 1. Rumors are that Isak and Guehi will be introduced too. Look, man, you got to sign them 2 first, man. And if you do sign them, I honestly believe you could start etching your name in the cup, man. I truly believe you'll win the league if you sign them too. Let me get some predictions to close. Judges, I'll start with you, actually. What are you telling me?
I'm going to go Liverpool 1, Arsenal 2. We're going to nick it.
Okay, interesting, man. I'll go next. I've gone 1-1. I think this one will be a draw. I'm kind of tearing between 1-1 and 2-2, if I'm honest. I don't think we will get it across the line, but I do think it's going to be a draw on as even. I think we might cancel each other out a bit. And with Mons, I think the midfield battle will be won by, and could be the one that does tip it over the edge, but I do think we might cancel each other out. So what are you telling me, Mons?
I'm going to go, for once, 5-goal thriller. I'm going to go 3-2 Liverpool. I think it's going to be a roller coaster game. I think it's going to be a roller coaster game. And I do think you guys score first. If you have a habit of scoring first at Anfield, I do think you guys get the first goal. Probably a Gabriel header. Probably.
Yeah, man. Set piece again, man. Set piece again, LA. I must say, I think that'd be unbelievable for the neutral 3-2. Jesus. What are you telling me, Errol?
Yeah, I had 3-2 in my head as well, but I'll go 3-1 instead. I think Liverpool will get the goals. I just can't see us keeping a clean sheet, so I'm always going to gift you one in that respect. But I think it's the set pieces that'll do it for you, similar to Mons. I think corners, we haven't been so bad. It's been those ones that you kind of deep into your own half, coming from different angles. I think those set pieces are the ones that typically cause us the most trouble when we decide whether we need to play the high line or we drop a little bit. And I think that's what catches us out more often than not. So I can see Arsenal scoring, but I can see Liverpool having a bit of a field day with the goals, if I'm being honest with you.
Interesting. Very interesting. Listen, people, it's been a pleasure. I wanted to do this preview. I wanted to get you guys on. Shout out what you got coming up, man. I'll start with you, Errol. How can people follow you, mate?
Yeah, so I'll be back on Redmen on Friday. Redmen 2 will be doing the Reds cartel, so I'll be rounding up some Arsenal fans, some Liverpool fans and some United fans for that. And then on Sunday, I'll be in the studio all afternoon, obviously doing the watch-along content for Arsenal versus Liverpool. So yeah, depending on the score, come and crash it. And if you can't come and crash it, come and give me flowers when we win 3-1. I love it.
Big up to you for coming on, bro. Make sure you're following Redmen TV and Errol, of course, on his Twitter handle there, social media handle. Monts, likewise, bro. What you got coming up?
Just a Man United reaction to the Grimsby game, because why not, man? Why not? 10 p.m. right after the game. Sesko gets his 90 minutes. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff there. But no, the boys are back. I was away from the weekend. So it's actually my first break off of streaming, first 3-day break. Guys were asking me if I was all right because they didn't see me. I didn't stream for 3 days. Guys are checking up on me. Do you know what I'm saying? But I was just away. But, you know, all the boys on the channel will be back tonight to talk some football and what was missed over the weekend. And yeah, man, I think we're about 19 subscribers away from 22,000. So if anyone likes to subscribe, please make sure you smash the like on this video as well. Subscribe to Lee Judges. You know what I'm saying? Dan Potts, of course, and as well, Redmen TV, man.
No, big up, Monts. Pleasure to have you, man. Make sure you're following both Lee Judges TV and Football's 12th Man. This show is sponsored by OK Jerseys, who are doing first, second, third international kits and retro kits like this one. One of my favorites, to be fair. One of my favorite away kits. So make sure you go checking them out. Links in the description. You go and get your kits. They're doing them for £15 at the moment. Don't go and put it in Cronky's pocket. Don't go and put it in FSG's pocket. Go and put it in their pocket, man. Okay, Jerseys. Big up to them. They're supporting us, so go show them some love as well. We're going to redirect you over to Saeed. I just need you to go and do me a favor and just put in his chat up the Grimsby. That's all I need you to do. Up the Grimsby. Yeah, let's just go and show him some love by showing us that we obviously want Grimsby to win tonight. Yeah, me and Lee will be back on the channel doing stuff, I'm sure, Judges, looking towards this game. And big up to you, mate, as always, Lee.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to Sunday. And, you know, my birthday tomorrow, so I'm having a day off tomorrow, like, you know what I mean? So, not doing that.
Happy birthday, man. More life. Happy birthday, brother.
He looks good. He looks good for 67, doesn't he, Judges? How old are you now? How old are you tomorrow? You're 57 tomorrow.
58 tomorrow, like, you know?
Oh, 58. Okay, 58 tomorrow. Okay, fair play. Happy birthday for tomorrow, Lee. Come on.
Thank you very much.
Real talk. Happy birthday for tomorrow. I'll tell you what, he's longing out his birthday. He's at literally his family over about 4 days. You know what I mean? Like, I've never known someone celebrate his birthday all week. You know what I mean? Nah, big up to you, mate. Happy birthday tomorrow. And yeah, listen, people, go show Saeed some love. Up the Grimsby. We'll see you next time. Take it easy. We're out of here. Laters.